This is a solution for Chapter 3 of Evans, Problem 12. We've got a couple parts here, and we're going to be taking a look at spark lines. Part A is just to figure out how to get some of these spark lines showing on our columns. And the second part is actually manipulate some of these numbers, and let's take a look at the win-loss spark line format that we have here. So the first part of it is we're looking at some stock values from 2010 in the September time range. Through September into the beginning of October, and we have the share prices for IBM, Intel, Cisco, and GE in here. And I thought it would be interesting to go in and get a current pricing. What's the spot price on these shares? And I took a look online, and I'll just show what. Let's take a look at over the last 5 years how things have changed. And actually, this is the trend line for IBM over the 5-year period. It's currently trading at 132 last Friday. And if we take a look at the data, we're about where we started out in 2010. But if we look at the trend line, you can see that there was some really nice ups here. We were up in the $210 range for quite a while there, for quite a bit. And we've had a pretty fast slump through the end of 2015 into 2016, and there's a little uptick here into the 132 range. Okay. On the Intel share pricing, we can see that there's been some appreciation that's going on here. Not too bad since 2010. Current price is at $29.80. Let's call it 30. If we take a look at Intel, it was trading around 20, so we're up about 50% in the last 5 years. I'll take a look at Cisco. What's Cisco running in our table for 2010? We're in about the 2150 maybe for our share. And Cisco's currently trading at 26, so it's gotten some appreciation there. We can see the trend line is at least in the right direction. It's generally improving since 2010. These numbers actually start in 2011, just after our table started. Okay, so at 26.41, we compare that to the numbers here. We're doing pretty well. We're up about 35, 40%, 45% over that time frame. And the last one we'll take a look at is GE, which was down in the about $16 range there on average. And when we take a look at the last 5-year trend line here, also going up, doesn't look bad, finishing at 29.39. Let's call that 30. And we'll go back to our chart, and we can see we've just about doubled the price in that amount of time. GE's doing pretty well. Okay, so just kind of interesting. This data comes from a little while ago. It's interesting to get updated. Let's take a look at, hey, we're about business here. Let's see what's going on with those share prices right now. So we're going to be inserting the spark lines into this spreadsheet here, and it's fairly straightforward. We're requested to do 2 different kinds, both a column and a line spark line. And we want to watch a trend over about a month here. Okay, so we select the box, select the cell that we want to put the spark line into, and we go into insert mode and come over to spark line. So it asked us to do column and line. Let's do the line first. So we'll click line. It asks us for what range we want. Give it the range, and it assumes where we had originally clicked is where we want to have the spark line. Click OK, and we get a tiny little spark line in there. Okay. So what we can do now is just drag that over. It operates like a function or other data in there. You can see if you look closely, they are different. And we're going to clean that up in just a second here. But first we're going to put in the column spark line. So we'll go back to here underneath the IBM column, and we'll insert a column spark line. Again, we'll grab the range that we want. And you can see very small here, but you can see spark line in a column mode. Okay, so a couple of things that we can do is select the row, and we can grow its height a little bit. So let's give ourselves a little vertical there. Do the same here. Okay, so now we gave ourselves a little vertical room, but we can also go horizontal as well, and you can stretch the column width a little bit. See what's going on there. Okay, and that kind of gives us an idea of what's going on. And this is just in the span of 2010. Generally, when we look at the data here, it was all on the positive. They were all moving up. So we can see the data in each of these sections are all moving up too. Okay, which is a good thing. It shares. Okay, very good. Okay, so that's question 12, part A. We got that done. Now, here's something that happens that's really common with data. Very common procedure here. We're going to look for not the absolute data, but we're going to look for the changes between successive periods here. Not all these periods are the same, though. Just keep that in mind when you do this. So there's actually a couple days between the first and second data points, and as we come down, there's going to be, let's see, go through here. There's no other leaps, but you have to keep an eye on this. The first couple, there's an extra jump there. We're missing September 4th, 5th, 6th. Okay. So part B asks us to compute the daily change in the Dow Jones Index and apply a win-loss spark line to visualize the daily up or down movement in the index. Okay. All right, I'll take care of 12. So we're going to end up, we'll put it in here, and we're going to insert the win-loss style of spark line. It's going to ask us for our data range. And first we have to compute the change from day to day. So in order to compute the day to day, it's just subtracting the current day's value of the Dow Jones Industrial to the previous periods or the previous days. So this is just going to equal this cell. Let's go this cell minus this cell. So the difference between the 7th and the 3rd is it went down 107 points here. Okay. And now we can use this relative addressing and just calculate the difference from every day to the previous day. And basically it was going up for quite a while, a little dip, going up, 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 up. Generally up, there was a big up day, 197. So we're already seeing data where we might not be able to recognize it too fast here. Let's give ourselves the spark line, and it's going to be the win-loss type. Even before we start, I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. It's going to be the difference or the delta from day to day. Okay, and now we're going to do our spark line, insert our win-loss spark line, give it the data. And it assumes that we've already pre-selected the cell where we want to put this. So, okay. And we have this red and blue. Red obvious, well, should be, I say obvious, but it should be clear that red means a negative movement and the blue is positive. And if we give ourselves just a little bit more breathing room here, let's push it all the way out here. We need to separate this out enough to see it. So why don't we center up these numbers here so we can see what's going on. And so this is a computed number here. Now they're quite separated. You can see day to day, it's very easy to count which days went up. You have a 4-day streak here, one down. You had a 5-day streak here, and then it kind of dithered back and forth. It was going back and forth. All that shows is not the relative change, but the fact of whether it went up or down. It's just a tick. It's a tick mark that says it either went up or down, not relative in size to any of the other ones there. That's pretty much it. That's question 12.